Welcome back to the RedAss podcast. This is going to be episode 23, and this is your co-host, Rob White, fighting the Texas Aggie class of 2014.
I guess that makes me a co-host.
Yes.
All right, fair enough. We're co-host.
Yeah.
He's kind of the host. I'm just the loudmouth. But fair enough. This is Fight Texas Aggie class 2015 Roy May. Man, it is Monday evening, and I am buzzing, coming off 3 points from West Ham, winning. Not that any of y'all give a damn about Premier League.
Yeah, well.
But we have just moved up to 5th in the table, and again, Rob and I enjoy the Premier League, a lot of it because of the relegation thing. We've heard us talk about it before.
Sure. Yeah.
We are really clear of relegation.
Well, that's good that you're clear of relegation. We're not clear of VAR zone right now. That thing keeps screwing everybody up, man.
Premier League's just dumb. And when I so I'll watch matches, and obviously half of it is me just trying to figure out what the announcers are talking about because the slang is different.
Right.
And then every once in a while when I have the opportunity, like today, West Ham Fan TV, they're a kind of online presence, West Ham guy, vlogger, whatever you call them.
Sure.
They do a watch along. So I probably learned more from them in a match than I've learned about the sport in any other time. So, but then I also have to keep up with their slang.
Right.
But
which is very different.
But when guys who literally grew up with the sport don't understand the rule, I was reminded of I grew up around football. Like football, literally, some of my earliest sports memories were football, and I still. Through the years and as rules change, I try and look at the rules and see how they're implemented, how they're changed in football, and that's fine. Things are going to change, and I get that. Like, for instance, they decided to go with face masks a long time ago.
Sure.
All right, rules are going to change. So, again, like targeting. So you have to figure out, all right, so targeting's a new thing, which to an extent makes sense. I mean, we do know a lot more about head injuries. So I try and figure out the targeting rule, but yet every time I watch a game and there's targeting, I don't get it.
Yeah, though it feels like the qualifications for what qualifies as targeting changes every 5 seconds.
And my thing is, I understand that when it's called on the field that it's at full speed, and the officials are going to make the call that they see, and I get that. But then you had the review, which absolutely, especially with something like targeting, where you're going to have they're like penalties. In Premier League,
sure,
you've got to make sure you get it right. So they go to the review, right?
Right.
But what always is fascinating to me, and it's literally the same thing. As mad as you are about targeting is as mad as Premier League fans are about VAR. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like it's applied the same way, even when it's reviewed on video.
Well, and I think when you look at targeting as a rule, I think you can apply it similarly to how it is applied in the NFL, where it's not necessarily an immediate ejection so much as it is just like any other personal foul. And you just say, hey, that's one personal foul for you. If you get another one, you're gone. But, make it like a yellow card, red card situation.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is there doesn't seem to be any sort of rhyme or reason once they actually video review it, which means they're watching it the same as you are on television.
Right.
Slow motion from as many angles as the cameras will provide, and yet more often than not, you're baffled by the decision that comes from the review booth.
Yeah, and needless to say, as we've gone through with all the targeting issues we've had, we've seen targeting come from so many different angles.
If you know the name Donovan Wilson, bro, you know targeting.
Donovan.
You know everything that targeting is, and if you're Donovan Wilson, targeting is everything. Everything is targeting if you're Donovan Wilson in college.
Yeah. And we were talking about,
Dono, man, what a great player.
He was a great player. We were talking about...
Still is. Love seeing him play for the Cowboys.
Who was it? Howard that used to play back 2014? Poor guy got trucked by Leonard Fournette. And
gosh.
He was a targeting machine, too.
I feel like I intentionally forgot about him just because I felt bad about how bad he got trucked.
Yeah, I know exactly. But you know who I'm talking about.
But like long gone are the days of Chuck Cecil. Long gone are the days of Quentin Coriat, the dude coming across him. Like honestly, today's game, if the hit, as Aggies know it, if the hit occurred, Quentin Coriat may literally face 3 to 6 months in prison.
You're not wrong. I mean, it was absolute destruction, that hit.
So the game has changed, but it's because we know that people's brains are getting scrambled, and so it's good that it's changing. I just don't understand. Like I understand the discrepancy of a call on the field. I don't understand the discrepancy in the review.
Right.
So that's my complaint. We're not sorry to go down that road. VAR and targeting are two of my biggest pet peeves on the planet because I still don't know what they are.
And they are so relevant to the sports that we enjoy. So that's the
They have
problem.
a massive impact.
They do.
You're talking about target in the first half. You're out the rest of the game.
Yeah.
During the second half, you missed the first half of the next game in college. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, and that hurts. That really does hurt your team, and it hurts your chances of being able to win a game, especially if you're one of these key defensive players that gets called for it.
Right. Like, if you're that 5-star, like, dude, like the Honey Badger, man.
Yeah.
When he's on the field, he makes the defense better. And I know he only plays one position.
Uh-huh.
It's a team sport. But when everybody in their own position that make up a defensive squad or team are really, really good, then you have this one superstar.
Right.
When he's gone, it makes a difference. It doesn't matter that you're going to bring somebody else in. And that's what's disturbing about Premier League is you talk about a red card. Nobody can substitute the guy.
Right.
But you have to trust me. If you don't watch Premier League, it's equally as frustrating as seeing this garbage.
It really is, and something that we've unfortunately had to see plenty of. But yeah, it's been a very fun week of finally getting back into football.
Dude, the long Thanksgiving weekend.
It was great.
There was football starting on Thursday. It might have been MACtion on Tuesday and Wednesday. Who knows? I'll give the MAC this. They know how to pull eyes on a night where nobody watches football.
It's incredible.
And it's like it's almost become a bit of a punchline. Like, it's MACtion night, baby. Like, everybody's going to watch the MAC because it's Tuesday or Wednesday night. But you know what? Everybody watches the MAC because it's football.
I watch them. It's football.
Like, they're getting my ratings. I'll turn it on, and I probably don't even pay attention to the game, but it's football, so I'll put it on the background.
Right. And, I think if they do provide it's not going to be the best quality football, but it's like watching XFL. It's like watching one of those
things.
It's
a segue between, your Saturdays. Or your Sundays, if you're a massive NFL guy.
Right. It holds you over, and it's still college football.
It is.
But
so the passion and all that other stuff, and the Mac's talent level is equal relative to the MAC. I can't say that I do a lot of analysis in the MAC, but I would be willing to assume that there's a decent amount of parity. So the games tend to be exciting. They tend to be really high scoring.
Well, they'd be high scoring. You've got fun plays. You've got fun trick plays. I mean, for the love of God, what was the game a few weeks ago where it was Central Michigan, and they pulled off a fake spike and threw it for a touchdown to win the game.
The Chippewas.
Yeah, well, it was the Bronx.
Oh no, Central Michigan. Oh,
yeah,
one of the Chippewas.
That's that's it. No, I'm thinking Western Michigan is the
Western Michigan is the Bronx.
Broncos.
Central Michigan is the Chippewas.
Yeah, they're the Chippewas.
Oh
yeah.
Well,
you had it right.
But it's exciting, and what's the old adage? Defense wins championships, right?
Right.
You know what offense does? It puts butts in the seat, and if that seat is your couch because you turned it on because it's football, like you watch the MAC, you don't really, honestly. I get it. There's some MAC fans out there. They're kids that play in the MAC, and they're student athletes. Like every single one of them, they put in the time. They work their butts off. But the quality of football, like the MAC, isn't going to end up in the playoffs anytime soon. All right.
No.
But you know what? It's football. There's parity. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun, and it put you in your seat. And ratings wise, they're getting those ratings.
Right.
And so look, football is just fun.
Football's fun. I will.
Now, would you tune into the MAC if all of them played the triple option? Hell no.
No, but they're high flying offenses. It's like Big 12 light,
Speaking of triple option,
yeah.
Next week is Beat Navy week, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we will get into that next week.
I'm excited.
But I do want to jump in on a little bit of college football and highlight some games that did take place because. It was rivalry week. There was a lot of craziness that did happen.
Well, let's start this off with one before we even have to bother with this.
Right.
Notre Dame, North Carolina.
Right.
Mac Brown gets a lot more credit for a program that's really not that good. Mm-hmm. Their losses were to Virginia and BC or something like that. Yeah. So it's not like UNC is this great team. Everybody's rooting for UNC and honestly, if you're not a Notre Dame fan, then you don't like Notre Dame. That tends to be how it is in college football. They're a very polar program. So everybody was rooting for North Carolina and all this other crap. There was just no way. It wasn't going to happen. All right.
No.
Notre Dame is a legitimate team, and North Carolina is not very good. Despite their record, they're actually not very good. All right, their losses are atrocious.
Yeah, no, the teams they lost to were not good, but they did put up a good fight against a good Notre Dame team.
Right, but Notre Dame covered. It's amazing how And Vegas continues to be right, and we continue to pay their light bills. That's how that works. But I want to get that game out of the way. Like, there's not much time. Look, Notre Dame's a good football team.
Yeah.
Obviously, even without Trevor Lawrence, Clemson is still a good football team. So for them to beat them, even in overtime, means Notre Dame can play football.
Can we say a nice little thank you to Oregon State for effectively eliminating the Pac-12 from the playoff?
Yes, thank you. I will. The Beavers will be on my Christmas card list this year.
Yeah. I mean, you had 15 Oregon who, let's face it, even if they went undefeated, people were going to have a hard time putting them in.
But there's still a thought that they could.
Exactly.
Like, what if after this game they have, maybe 2-3 more games, but they win by 50 every game?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's a Pac-12, but good Lord, they're winning by 50. So there's that little thought in the back of the committee's mind that, maybe the Pac-12's got to be included.
And that's been washed away.
Done.
That's
done.
Thank God.
Pac-12, although we thought they were already out of it, they are out of it. They're effectively done relative to the playoffs. It'll probably still be Oregon going to like a New Year's Six.
Right. They'll play whatever.
And that'll be a real interesting measuring stick.
Fiesta Bowl.
Right, but it'll be interesting measuring stick who they get paired up against and how they play.
Yeah. I mean, because, you didn't get any of those other games.
Season of opt-outs, don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
What if Cincinnati gets Oregon and just takes him to the woodshed because Oregon had like 2 or 3 dudes opt out? Cincinnati's like, bro, we're going to finish as best we can in the history of our program.
Go for it.
Which I love.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part about a lot of these New Year's Six games this year, because you're going to see those bowl selection committees actually look. Yeah, they will look at those mid majors that went undefeated. They're going to look at BYU. They're going to look at Cincinnati. They're going to look at I don't think they'll look at Liberty, but Coastal Carolina even.
Coastal Carolina, if they stay in their trajectory, depending on what happens, you're talking about you have 4 teams in the playoffs. Then you have the New Year's Six.
Yep.
They could legitimately get in, and you want to talk about the opponent you do not want to play at a New Year's Six bowl.
No.
Because, oh my God, they will just hair on fire, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, obviously the playoff picture is interesting.
It is.
But if you look at the New Year's Six picture relative to the teams that are never there, man, it could be a really, really fun bowl season.
Yeah.
And what's going to be interesting is the Gator Bowl or the Outback Bowl is going to have to bring somebody other than Michigan.
Right. Exactly. Other than Michigan.
You can't default to Michigan this year.
Yeah. No Penn State. Sorry about them. They're trash. But God, you want to talk about just a crap game.
If the Pinstripe Bowl was smart, they'd go back, they'd reopen it, have the Pinstripe Bowl just to get the TV revenue, no people in the stands, and just let Michigan and Penn State play again. You know what? Put Michigan State on the field. Have some sort of way where you can have just a round robin, crappy, shitty game, and people will watch it. Play 7-on-7 tourney. Grab another crappy Big 12 or Big 10 team. Oh hell, grab a Big 12 team. The Big 10, Big 12 shootout.
Have fun.
Yeah, it might be as many points as the basketball games.
Go play. Have a good time, kids.
So shit. They are so shit.
It's bad. And, I think you look at a lot of the games. I mean, speaking of Big 12, Texas is out of the conversation for the championship now. Iowa State won that thing.
They're absolutely out. I think they were out for a while. But now you've got Heauxme, a team captain opting out.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, at this point in the season, coming off a loss that meant you weren't going to the championship really looks like you're quitting.
Right.
And then Kerstetter, I believe their center, he's hurt. So they could have 2 of their starting 5 out.
Right.
Keontae Ingram's hurt, so I don't know if he's going to play or not.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I think Kansas State's going to end up beating Texas, and I think Kansas and Texas. I think Texas will refuse to play or will want to find a reason to not play Kansas, and I really feel like Kansas wants to play in that situation.
Winless Kansas right now. Winless Kansas gets Texas for the last game of the year, and if there's any
is
one
that in
thing,
Lawrence? I don't even know.
It is in Lawrence.
Dude,
so for the love of God.
You got to play that game. Like, you've got to put Texas officials on the mic, on the spot, be like, well, they didn't want to play us. Like, we want to play. They're just making up excuses at this point. So you've got to look at that as, and we all know Les Miles is a complete whack wagon.
Yeah, it's going to be a crapshoot for the last 2 games. Literally Texas has to hit the road for 2 games in Kansas State in Kansas.
And this is like hit the road, Jack, but please come back with 2 losses.
Please. Because how incredible would it be?
Look, Kansas State isn't very good, but you're talking about some legitimate injuries. You're also talking about, injuries and opt-outs, excuse me. Mm-hmm. You're also talking about a Texas team that just, they're done. They've packed it in.
They have no motivations whatsoever.
They've packed it in. K-State is a prideful program because they're never really on top, but they play for wins. K-State's a prideful program, and that's something that Bill Snyder instilled in that program that will last forever.
Yeah, and there's something else to be said that, I think one thing, if anything you're going to see from Texas, at least from Tom Herman's thought process, is he wants to finish strong. But, because, the conversation right now is that he is gone. If you've talked to anybody in that fan base, they want him out.
Well, you talk to anybody in that fan base, they're already drawn up the contract for Urban Meyer.
Which, let's go ahead and go.
Yeah, we don't just, why are we losing to the Iowa States and TCUs of the world? You know why? Because they're the better program right now. Get over yourself. Get over yourself.
I mean, Matt Campbell.
We should never lose to the Iowa States of the world.
Okay.
Well, what about the Iowa State?
Matt Campbell is a fantastic coach and has done a great job building that program.
Apparently a little bit of a weirdo.
He is.
But
it fits for him.
But it works.
It fits for what Iowa State is.
If I'm Matt Campbell, I'm never leaving Iowa State.
I wouldn't, because here's the thing.
He's got it going a little.
He's got it going, and honestly, let's go ahead and look at what the Big 12 is. The Big 12 is a conference where...
Well, I already flushed that down the toilet.
Well, we already flushed it down the toilet. That's fine. But you look at the Big 12...
Yeah, I took a Big 12 earlier today.
You got Iowa State, who is, a program that has been building up last few years. They've never been...
Slowly but upward.
Slowly but upward. And you see that. I went up to Ames last year for the Texas game when they won that thing off a walk-off field goal. It was awesome. You want to talk about a really cool environment? Go to Ames in November. It's cold, it's miserable, and everybody's drunk off their ass. It's a great environment to watch a football game.
Can we do a warm, nice, and drunk off their ass? Because maybe we could move the Texas game up to the beginning of the year. Maybe I'd go watch.
Well, I will say, it does provide that extra factor when you go there because Texas players aren't used to that level of cold.
The middle of the country cold is just
different.
Tornado Alley winters.
I was not ready for that when
thanks.
I went. It was miserably cold. And the worst part is my buddy Travis, love you, dude. I was having to roll his butt around in a wheelchair because he had broken his ankle earlier in the year. So I'm literally rolling.
Ice? Please tell me because it was like...
I was rolling his ass all over that stadium.
I don't know him, but I would guess it was either because he slipped on ice or there was a tractor incident.
So
it's not farming and it's not ice, then I don't know.
He slipped walking out of the stadium. Early, I think it was against the Iowa game. He was drunk and fell off a curb and broke.
And another big in-state rivalry.
Yeah, big in-state rivalry.
Oh, they still play. Amazing.
Yeah, novel thought. We can get into that at some point. But hey, what? Iowa State, Texas, great win for Iowa State. Puts them in real good position to clinch.
I will watch. Assuming there's no hiccup between now and then, because I believe there's still one more shot at screwing this up.
Yeah, it's like 1 out of 9 scenarios where they don't make it right now.
Right. So, but if it's Iowa State versus OU, you see Iowa State a bit on a run right now, right?
Right.
They've already beat OU.
Yes.
And again, thank God for the Big 12 that just thinks that once you win, you have to play number 2 team again.
Which
is so doo-doo. But that should be a fun game to watch.
It'll be
one of the few Big 12 championship games I've watched since '98.
Hell, and if I wasn't doing other things, I'd run up to Arlington to go watch it because it was. I would do it. It would be a lot of fun.
I won't give the Big 12 my revenue.
I already did.
At least too
late. But like I said, that was a good one. Nebraska is a dead program. They lost to Iowa, which we kind of knew was going to happen.
Oh, hold on.
Dead program.
Nebraska, bringing Scott Frost home, right?
Oh yeah, he's going to save the program.
If I could root for one hire. Because Michigan already did it to themselves, bringing somebody home and ruining the program. I really think that one of the universities of Texas, not the university, but one that happens to be in Austin, they should really take a good long look at Major Applewhite to make sure that he's not the right pick to come home and save the program. Huge fan, rooting for Major Applewhite. Open the Brinks truck, pay Major to come home.
I think would be...
He's not a good coach. Please, hire him.
I think would be the ultimate irony at this point?
Keeping Tom?
No.
It's hiring Major and him bringing Tom on as OC?
Two words. Will Muschamp finally comes home.
He has been in waiting status for. He's been circling the airport for a long time.
I want that so bad. I want him to come back.
But let's talk reality coaches though. Yeah. Harbaugh's obviously going to Tuscaloosa being an analyst.
Yeah, because he's out of Michigan.
Herman is either going Group of 5 or offensive, like maybe co-OC Power 5. I could see that, like a lower Power 5.
Sure.
Derek Mason, hopefully, is coming to College Station.
Here's the thing. If Elko takes off, I'm 100% cool with.
I don't think Elko's taking off, but you can never have too many smart people in the room.
There's not.
And I get that Vandy hasn't been great, but Derek Mason didn't cut his teeth as a head coach. No, he's a defensive guy.
He's a great DC.
And one extra set of eyes on film. Dude, we're just talking about prepping and making sure we're good and finding everything.
I'd be cool. Kind of serve as a Kubiak role whenever he was analyzing for the program. How about that?
And sometimes I feel like Derek Mason has good to, above average game plans. He just doesn't have the personnel to execute.
He doesn't have the talent, and that's.
I think the quarterback, unfortunately, Seals, the kid at Vandy. Yeah. I think he can be good. But again, he's a fish.
He's a fish, so you got to give him time, because not every freshman's going to hit the field the first time with no talent around him and do well. They're just not going.
He makes bad throws, he's pressure. Because the problem, one of his biggest problems is the talent literally right around him. His offensive linemen also aren't good.
Right.
I think the Iron Bowl went the way we thought it would.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That spread was 24.5, and I was like, yep, Bama. Yeah,
covered. And big shocker, Alabama rolled that game. It looked a little iffy early, but it never was in doubt after that.
If you've never seen Funny Maine, M-A-Y-N-E, Funny Maine, he does this. He's a big Bama guy. He's real funny.
He is.
And he does videos, kind of like SEC Shorts. He does videos, and every week he does how Bama fans watched the games this weekend.
Yeah.
And I've literally had that video on alert because he's funny.
He's very funny.
But him talking about Bama and Auburn and this week our score flashed up. The only thing he had to say was just laughing. Like he didn't say anything about it wasn't an impressive win. He was just laughing his ass off.
No doubt, he's a very funny individual. I just think speaking of not a convincing win, Texas A&M playing LSU this week. It was exactly what I expected it to be. I just thought we were going to come out a little flat offensively. But you know what? The boys came out and did what they were supposed to do to win the game, and that's what mattered.
Well, my only off thing was I figured they'd cover. But, they came out flat. So you have a team that's been off for, at that point, 3 weeks. You've got players that haven't practiced 2 of those 3 weeks. You've got just the shittiest weather. For a football game.
It was ridiculously awful.
And here's what I will state as absolute facts. The offense looked like doo-doo early. I was a little discouraged that our game plan didn't change. Because, again, as the game goes on, the footballs they soak up more and more water. And it was either run the ball or throw it deep. And I felt like we left a lot of intermediate play calling on the field, not even like drop passes. Kellen was off. Kellen had a bad night, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So Kellen would be the first to tell you, he had a crap night, and we were up 20-0, and they had 270 yards of offense, something like that total, and 60, 70, 80 of them came on the last drive, to score.
Yeah.
So you look at the defensive performance was phenomenal.
Oh, you want to talk about just sustains improves. Obviously, both of us would say a sustain. Defense, well done.
No, I'll be more specific. Sustain. Defensive line.
Yes.
Another sustain. Linebackers.
Yes.
And then my third sustain would be the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing flashy, nothing great. Spiller's still doing what he does. He's just, honestly, it's fascinating to me that Spiller doesn't get more run, nationally.
Right.
What he's doing.
Well, and I think,
but again, we're A&M, so we're not going to get it until we do something special.
And Lord knows we got plenty of that from the broadcasting crew. Good Lord.
Yeah.
We're talking about this game. You would have thought we were playing the game on the Longhorn Network the way they were trying to spin it against us. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but and what's funny is you look around and going back to Funny Man, he's hilarious, but he's pretty knowledgeable too.
Oh, no doubt.
He looked at 27 and just started 20-7 and just started laughing.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, man, that was closer than I thought it'd be. He actually watched the game. So he understands that, yeah, they scored garbage mop-up time points again. And I just watched Billy Lucci on Feinbaum earlier.
Yeah.
Some of these scores have been closer on paper than they were because you've got your last three opponents that, so since Florida, we've had what? South Carolina, LSU.
We had Mississippi State. And Arkansas.
And Arkansas. So three of those four you've basically put away by the end of the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's window dressing points there. So then you just have to hope that the committees, they're not just looking at scores. They at least look at the box score where you can look at first quarter, second quarter, third. Even if they're just looking at the box score and how it plays out. And I think I would like to give them enough credit to where they will at least look at, what was the score heading into the fourth.
20-0, baby.
Right. And not just this game, Arkansas scores late,
a couple late,
it was like a backdoor cover. South Carolina tried to pretty stuff up on the back end. So you've got a team that defensively is just playing, and even with a layoff. And that's what was impressive. And I understand that offensive rhythm is something that you can't maintain if you're not practicing, and I get that. But you've got DeMarvin Leal, who was defensive lineman of the week. You've got Buddy Johnson, who was the defensive player of the week. Defensive player of the week. He had like 9 tackles, something like that. 1 for a loss. He had an interception. He had a touchdown.
Pick 6, baby. Yeah.
So Buddy played great. Hansford played great. I'm still thrilled about his transition from tight end.
I look at this team, and you just look at the adaptation they had to make. And, we did come into this game with a lot of factors going against us, and frankly, other teams of the past, other coaching of the past, we probably lay an egg in this game and don't do what we got to do.
This is a game we lose or barely eke out late against just a completely shitty LSU team.
Right, and this game, frankly, after we scored, was never really a game that was in doubt. I think there was no doubt after Spiller broke off his long touchdown run.
I saw some weird stat earlier today. I hope I quote this right. We haven't been behind since the third quarter of the Florida game.
That's an interesting stat. I didn't know that. Well, no, we trailed to Arkansas early. They scored the first touchdown.
Or maybe it was like second half. Yeah, no, at the end of a quarter.
Quarter.
We haven't ended a quarter behind since the third quarter of the Florida game.
Okay.
And I'll have to double tap that, look it up. But even if that's 90% accurate, that is an amazing stat.
Well, and it really speaks to the thought process of Texas A&M being like, we will not allow this to stand as it is. They're going to come back at you and show you what's up.
Well, on both sides of the ball, you see the offense realizing the need to respond.
Yes.
You see the defensive side of the ball understanding that they have to shut things down, because if you give up a touchdown, the worst thing you can do is give up a second touchdown, right?
Right.
So you've seen the defense respond, and what I've really enjoyed watching is watching the secondary grow. And I get that they're probably not still where we'd like them to be, but man, from game one, and you hate to use the fantasy game, but we played it. So you can look at their performance a little bit. The secondary has grown, and to me, it's not just a secondary unit anymore. It's not just the defensive backs. It's the defensive backs starting to play as more as a bigger part of the defensive unit.
Right.
They're not separating themselves on the backside. They're really starting to play as an extension of the defense, and that's where you start to see defensive backs really excel. Is knowing that they can trust their own ability.
Yeah.
And they can trust, the linebackers and the defensive linemen to back them up.
And I think statistically, one thing I thought was really interesting about this game was we both ended with the same amount of yardage total on both sides of the ball. But, obviously the important thing was we forced turnovers, and really defense stepped up where they needed to step up and, helped out the offense when they were struggling.
All right, so here's your improve. You didn't score in the second half offensively.
No. So obviously
offense. It's a massive improve.
And I think that goes towards not so much talent so much as it is game plan.
There's game plan in there. I think there's, some time off, kind of factors in there. Just the timing of the offense and everything. It's game plan, it's timing. And there was, it was weird, and I may be way off on this, but I watched the game in the first half. We kind of came out and got after it, and the defense got after it, and the team offensively, defensively, collectively gelled. And then the offense almost kind of went into a shell. It was like, all right, the defense has us, and look, I get that because our defense is it's insane how well they're playing. Right. However, you have to have that absolute killer mentality, and I don't think that's just on the offensive players. There's also offensive play calling that's involved in that, and so we talked about that. Like the ability, the improvement is also comes from the booth.
Yes, it does. I think you look at we didn't really establish the run game, especially in the second half, which where we absolutely should have grinded this game out and beat them up. And this goes back...
We threw a lot more than we needed to.
Right. It boils down to one of my favorite things. If you've been on my Twitter in a hot minute, you see my banner. 4 letters responds to was it run the damn ball. That is so important for our game. And granted, trust me, that does not mean we don't need to throw it. 100% we have to have the throwing game. We have to have the passing game. It needs to be there.
But running sets up the offense.
The running sets up the offense for this team. You have 3 top-notch running backs. Let them eat.
Here's my take on it, though, and we'll kind of finish up with this.
Yeah.
Well, at least I'll finish up with this, and if you want to go any further.
Sure.
I'm a firm believer that LSU threw everything at us that they possibly could. I think Ed Orgeron knows, despite winning a national championship last year, his fan base is not impressed with his garbage.
No.
The team looks like absolute crap. I really wish that Marshall had opted out before the game.
Yeah, no kidding. He was half their offense.
But it's just, he had to do everything he could to score a garbage touchdown to lose 20-7. And look, would we have loved a 50-7? Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I would have loved better weather. So it just comes down to, Look, I get that it wasn't the prettiest win in style points and all this other crap, but don't ever throw this convincing win at me if you're not going to look at the actual box score and realize that going in the fourth quarter, we were just kind of walking away with the game. Now, I would like to be in a little bit less of a shell offensively, but the game was ours.
And, I think this boils down to what my thought was coming into this, actually coming out of this game, which is this was our game. We won it handily. This was the game it needed to be. It covered our, for the fans, it covered the revenge factor from last season. It has further established that LSU does not dominate our thought process anymore.
Yep.
This is a team that no longer holds that air of doubt over our head. This is a team that we should not be scared of anymore. A&M did what they were supposed to do. They won the game. Sure, they didn't cover, but who gives a shit? Except for you poor bet money on it.
Yeah, well, there's us. And I was just reminded of the fact that I should never bet on my own teams, and I know better, and for some reason I did. But you know what? Even then, I don't care about that. Never gamble with utility bill money. I had don't ever bet money that you don't expect to lose.
And I do apologize for my F-bomb there. That's not normal for me. I've been drinking.
Yeah. But my biggest thing is, we won handily. We probably didn't win convincingly, but again,
who cares?
I have 3 more games, and of those 3, they're not going to be close. So, real quick into Auburn, I think they're trash. I don't think Bo Nix is good at all. I think our defensive line is going to be way too much for them. And I don't really care what anybody tells me. Like, the line opened at 4, which is laughable. By the time I got to it on my betting app, it was at 7. And so, so many people think that Auburn's going to win this game. And this goes back to what we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
It's not the players on the field that look at the logos. It's all the idiots that do all the metrics.
Hey, you're talking about me like that. Come on.
Did you... Well, no. Yeah, but you don't have a vote in things. Mm-mm. Like, you're not setting these numbers. No. And what I'm trying to say is, like, dude, did you not just watch the Iron Bowl?
Right.
The Iron Bowl could have been a 20 to 30 point larger margin.
It could have been.
Auburn's not good. Bo Nix isn't good. The only thing you have to worry about is Gus Malzahn, because he'll just pull a rabbit out of a hat. But, man, this is not the year that this happens. It's not the year. Mm-hmm. They don't match up with us anywhere.
I will say with this year, in almost any other year, I would sit back and look at this Auburn game and say, "Oh God, Miles On's gonna
Crap,
pull.
this is the game.
He's gonna do something goofy to us." But here's the thing: Auburn's coming off of a loss to their rival, and they're gonna have to play a game after their big loss to a rival for the first time ever. And they don't have anything to play for.
They have nothing to play for.
They have nothing left. So if I'm A&M, I'm coming out with the thought process that I am going to dominate you from opening snap, and we are going to beat the living hell out of you until you guys are done.
This is a game where you just line up and play big boy football.
And we can and we should, because this team is not good.
Well, and I think we will. And don't get me wrong, like it's not like Auburn isn't talented. It's just Auburn isn't good this year. And Bo Nix has shown us more this year about who he is than he did last year.
Yeah.
And all these little love fests and games here or there on national television are like, man, Bo Nix. Yeah, man, Bo Nix. He's not quite figuring it out. Still, he still hasn't figured it out.
I love that the matchup predictor on ESPN initially had us at like a 37%, and it just keeps growing back our direction because they know.
And that tells you exactly what you need to know about ESPN predictors. Because you know what? Vegas opened up. I saw lines as low as 4. Right now, we're at a 7-point favorite.
7.
And you know what? ESPN doesn't answer to gamblers.
No.
You know what Vegas has to do? Pay their light bill. They have to pay for all the people cleaning all the carpets every 2 days.
They know what they're doing.
Vegas knows what they're doing. And if they set us as a favorite and ESPN's like, yeah, you got like 46% chance to win this game, it's just yet further evidence that the people that do these metrics at ESPN are a big box of dumb.
And not to mention, one thing I will give Jimbo credit for more than anything is he has been a very, very good. He's done a very good job of covering, and not necessarily covering the spread, but winning the games he's supposed to win.
He's 23-4 against teams not ranked 1 and 2.
And
now one of those 4 is Auburn.
One of those 4 is Auburn.
But you know what? It's going to be 24-4.
We're going.
Maybe 25-4. I don't know if I added LSU in there.
Yeah, but we are going to win this game.
Yes.
We're going to go on the road 11 o'clock in the morning, which I think is perfectly fine for our team.
When it's a road game, just get out of the way, baby.
Get out of the way.
Kegs and eggs. Let's turn it on. And all their shakers and the actual eagle that flies around the stadium, which, by the way, is still one of the coolest things in the world.
Oh, it's fantastic. But let's go ahead and call what Auburn's going to be. They're going to come out flat. They're going to come out. Their stadium is not going to be anywhere close to capacity.
They have nothing left to play for.
They have nothing to play for, and we're going to go in there and beat them like a Cherokee drum. It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited.
I cannot wait. Roll damn Aggies.
Oh, boy. It sounds like somebody been watching Fine Mom too much.
No,
all right.
a little too much.
So that brings us to the next topic, or our non-sports topic, right? You got anything else?
No, I'm good on that.
No more sports. No more Aggie football.
No, we're good on football.
I will. I'll make a prediction real quick for this weekend.
What do you got?
I got my one bold prediction, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Kellen Mond responds and has a quarterback rating north of 110.
He's going to be 25 of 34 with, I want to say, 3 touchdown passes.
Man, I was just using rating. You're crazy.
No, he's going to have 3 TD passes minimum.
Yeah, I'm going to go like quarterback rating north of 110. If I could get north of 150, then we're going to embarrass them. And again, even though it's 11 a.m., at Auburn, win convincingly, right?
We got it.
Go win on the Plains.
Anyway, so from what I'm hearing, you had a plan for the second half of this, I guess, second third of this thing.
Well, yeah, again, like we talked about last week, let's not just talk about football.
As much as we love football, but...
Yeah.
What do you got?
So I want to talk about, this isn't the name like I assign to it every year, but it's kind of what it's called, the Christmas Rush. All right. So the Christmas Rush, it feels like, as you move through November and you get closer to Thanksgiving, just time drags a little bit, and you're trying to get through things. The impending holiday season is, it's looming in the distance. And then you get to like Monday or Tuesday of Thanksgiving. We talked about how busy things were.
Oh, sure.
And all of a sudden, like for me, having a family and cooking here in the house, you're like, all right, well, you do this, and I got to get everything together. I got to plan my meal. I got to figure out what I have, what I don't have. And then so we cook this meal, and then we wake up Friday morning. It's our tradition is to put up Christmas the Friday morning after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's what we do.
It was cold and wet outside, so outside decorations are still not up, but inside it's done. And then there's this weird rush between basically the Friday after Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve, it seems like it goes by like that.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, just from my perspective, just having been in those shoes, just like you have, it feels like I just lose all productive value. I just don't want to put anything else towards anything I want that I have to do.
Yeah,
Between now and Christmas.
You don't want to work, but you got to work. You need to shop. You don't want to shop. Then you, like, speaking of shopping, you're under the stress of, like, I want to get the right gifts for people. I want to really enjoy, what I get them. And I don't want them to kiss my ass, but I love giving gifts. Like, one of my favorite things on the planet is seeing the smile on people's faces when I give them a gift that I thought through.
You know my favorite thing to do is around about this time? Go back to my parents' house, sit down, and watch that Harry Potter marathon. That happens most years. Whether it's Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, whatever it is, there just seems to be like those movie marathons that kick off this time of year, and I don't want to move from the couch. That happens.
Yeah, no, you just want to get very sedentary. You want to eat as soon as you get past Thanksgiving. If you're a family that does Christmas cards or pictures, you got to get those done. You got to get them printed out. You got to get cards in the mail. You have address labels. You've got to. Jonna would tell us we have to plan all this out. We should have planned it out 6 months ago.
Thanks, Jonna.
Thanks, Jonna. But this is the time where it feels like. It's lovely because it's holiday season. Everybody likes the holidays, and I'm no different. I love the holidays.
Me too.
And it just feels like there's this bullet train from the Friday after Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve to where you're trying to hold on for dear life. You got to buy gifts, and if you got family that's out of town or out of state, you got to get that sent out of town. You got to make sure that it's sent out in time to get to their house in time for Christmas. You got to wrap it and put it in your boxes because you're not going to buy crap from Amazon because you should totally buy local instead of Amazon.
Always.
Although local doesn't make like Xbox crap. I'm not in that.
Yeah,
I'm not in the market to buy my cousins nieces and nephews. Certainly not my cousins, but my nieces and nephews. Like they're not getting gaming systems for me, but. You've got to do all of a sudden you're thrust in this, you know what you want to get, and you look up how to order it and how to buy it and when you're going to get it, and all of a sudden you have to have some sort of, like lead time, and you're doing all this planning, and oh, by the way, as soon as you hit that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday after Thanksgiving, you can start thinking about making Christmas cookies in bunches, because like you like your neighbors, you don't love them, so you're like, I'll make them cookies, and it'll be like, then we're still cool. Like my dog can bark late at night, and you can run your drone over my house, and we'll just agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. But I brought you cookies, you brought me cookies, so we're still cool. Uh-huh. So it's such a fun season. I love the holidays. The holidays are packed full of stress. One thing I'll say about this year that maybe should take the edge off a touch. And I'm not going to sit here and speak for everybody, and I'm certainly not going to sit here and lecture anybody. But you may not be visiting as many family members as you normally do.
Thank God, because let's face it.
Okay, so you're in the less stress mode. Yeah. See, but for some families, that's a bigger stress is not being able to see your families, during the holidays, or even just go spend 2 or 3 days for Christmas. And the one thing I've found, if I ever need to be lectured on anything ever in life, because at my age, my dad's not going to lecture me anymore unless I kind of press him into lecturing me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, but what about this, Dad? But if I ever need to be lectured in life by people who know absolute dick about me, just know nothing about me, they're not even lecturing me, but they're on a Twitter lecturing tirade. I know I can always go to Twitter to feel bad about myself. So,
every day of my life.
Yeah. So here is my holiday suggestion to y'all. People are going to do what they're going to do, whether you approve of it or not. Mm-hmm. That's your approval rating matters shit to what people think and feel. Get off your soapboxes over the holidays. Right. You don't have to support people doing things that you don't approve of, but you don't have to sit there and be like, you're a terrible human being and you're going to kill a lot of people. The holidays are an important part to a lot of people. And everybody has this like just pandemic exhaustion. All right. And we're all sick of everybody on social media. We're all sick of everybody. That's me, that's you, all of us, each other, others, it doesn't matter. We're just sick of it. Like, if we're not tweeting about sports or tweeting about something like, enjoyable that has nothing to do with anything serious, then more often than not, all I see is people either playing the gotcha game or people telling me how to live my life.
Right.
So here's how I kind of look at it. The Christmas rush, from Friday after Thanksgiving on to Christmas Eve. It's already stressful enough. It's been made more stressful with the fact that a lot of people won't be traveling, which is an emotional stress because they won't be able to see their family. And yeah, you can Zoom them or whatever, but there is no Zoom call that will ever replace the warm embrace of a hug of your mom, your dad, your siblings. So please, all I'm going to say is, with all the Christmas rush, because you got to plan a little earlier this year, with all the Christmas rush, get off your effing soapbox and realize that you don't get to dictate anything. We don't get to dictate anything. And it's okay for people to do things that you don't like. And I'm super sorry that even in what's going on around here, maybe you don't tell people that they shouldn't do things when you don't know anything on the backstory. Like, when I'm going to spend any time with my parents, because I go fishing with my dad, or maybe I decide to spend Christmas. Like, what if I did spend 14 days in quarantine and they stayed at home? Like, so just quit assuming shit. Because what's the rule? When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, brother. All right. So just get over yourself in the holiday season where people are already dealing with, the holidays are going to be without some family. The holidays where they're not going to be able to travel, the holidays where they're stressed to have to get everything else done. Oh, and by the way, there's a lot of people, small business owners, that are struggling through the holidays.
Amen.
So please get over your soapbox garbage and quit telling anyone how to do anything in life and how. And I get it. I get your concern, and it's this pearl clutching concern for others. But the problem is, you don't know what goes on with people, so you can't say that. How dare you go do this? When I know somebody online that got attacked for going home for Thanksgiving in a family, and they all spent 10 days at home quarantined for 10 days. All right, and if that doesn't work for you, like, nobody asked you. That's the catch. So it's the holiday season, and instead of being negative and shit-ass getting garbage, trying to put people on spots, how about you embrace the holidays, encourage proper behavior, and if people do crap that sucks, we've never stopped that in the history of mankind. You're not going to stop it by being a dick on Twitter. You're not going to stop it by making some sort of just holier-than-thou post on Instagram. So just please realize that the holidays are a time for us in this entire year of absolute dog shit that we've been through. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like the start point for the holiday season. Let us enjoy it. And if you have issues, like, take it up with people personally offline. Like, don't be the turd and don't think that you're better than anybody else. I'm super sorry you have a situation, and I'm super sorry that life's super hard for you. But you know what? Holiday seasons are one of the highest suicide seasons of the year, highest alcoholism season of the year. You're going to talk about, look, there are things that we have to that we need to deal with, but let's just help each other. Let's not be dicks to each other.
We are at a point right now in our world, with the way everything has gone on, that it's very clear that this is a time of year that a lot of people they don't need it. They desperately need it. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I'm sitting here working, every day. And I'll be honest, as much as I've been working at Texas Media Foundry, and I love working with the guys I work with and going out to play shows when I can, it's a lot of fun and I enjoy the hell out of it. But at some point, there's that extra need that you have to have,
Social interaction.
Social interaction. And, for me, part of my problem is I haven't had the greatest year in terms of a lot of different things. If we're going to go slightly personal, I've had some relationship issues this year. They haven't really quite worked out. So it's good to have that positive affirmation from the family because I have not had a great year, and let's face it, most of y'all haven't either. And having been in this position for as long as I've been in this position, being able to go home and spend time with my family over Thanksgiving was cathartic and wonderful. And I missed the hell out of it because I wasn't able to go last 2 years. My job that I did before this, I worked at Wayfair, and I didn't get to go home over Thanksgiving. I had to wake up bright and early on Black Friday and take all of your phone calls because you guys couldn't figure out how to click a freaking button on the website. Boy. So, not any of you specifically, but just kind of the general you. But the whole thing was this year I was able to go home and just take a load off, and that was more worth it to me than anything. And honestly, having going back to New Mexico, which is mostly shut down thanks to the governor over there was nothing for us to do, but I was able to go home, spend time with the family, and that was good for my soul. That was good for my essence, and something that, frankly, you as individuals, take advantage of it if you can, because...
Be safe about it.
Well, yeah, be safe about it, but there's some memories you're going to lose. Like, I'm going to get a little personal here. My grandmother just had a stroke this year. She is not operating in the same brain capacity that she did before this. I'm not sure she ever will. And it absolutely was awful and terrible. But I had a chance to see her twice, and it wasn't quite the same experience as I'm used to. But those are special memories and things I'm never going to get back if I don't go and experience those. Granted, I was smart. I was 6 feet away from her in her house wearing a mask. But at the same time, I made it a point to go see them because guess what? There's some things that are bigger than this silly disease.
Well, and I understand there's going to be a lot of, there'll probably be a bunch of backlash from our comments, and I get it. Like, yeah, I get it. I get people are dying, and I know it's terrible. And all I can do is control the bubble that I live in and how I operate and how the people that I interact with operate. You said most of y'all are having a crappy year. The only human being that's having a good effing 2020 is Jeff effing Bezos. Because all of y'all sit at home and just order shit off of Amazon.
Every day.
And I've done a decent amount of it too, and I'm not really proud of it. We keep pumping money into everything that we dislike. So it's just, it fascinates me that I need to be lectured by people who, first of all, I get to be the old guy, like you're half my age. Please don't ever lecture me on anything ever. Like I went through anthrax in D.C., I've been through a lot of really crappy things.
Oh, sure.
And I'm not to say that this isn't crappy, but like, please don't ever lecture me on how to live my life, especially when I know what the guidelines have kind of been set out and what the science tells us and how to do things and be safe doing it. All right. I'm not going out to eat. I don't go do that stuff. It's just, all I want is for everybody to take a step back. And if nothing else, this holiday season, because we are literally right at the start of it. Mm-hmm. As we're recording this, it hasn't yet hit 1 December, right? So, you haven't even broken out your little chocolate candy advent calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But for the love of God, just have some compassion for the people around you. And there is something that the physical interaction, even if it's like you said, like it's 6 feet, masks on, sanitized, staying away. That physical interaction fills your soul more than any Zoom call could ever hope to. So I hope that, and again, we want everybody to be safe and do the right thing.
Absolutely.
But don't sacrifice, like, a Zoom call isn't this, I'm so sorry that you're young and it's so hard for you to go somewhere to visit somebody on the other side of the glass. Even that is better than a Zoom call. Drive, go see people on the other side of the glass. We are literally losing a year as humans, not Americans. It's a global thing.
Yes.
We're losing a year, and a lot of people are losing friends and family, all right? Mm-hmm. And it's you don't have to go all have a big group hug and go out to Chili's and no, not against Chili's. I love Chili's.
Love Chili's.
Like you don't have to like go out and hang out at a buffet and just finger F everything and eat, just be gross. Like now that we're starting to realize how gross buffets are.
They always have been, but we love them anyway.
They're cheap. Yeah. And they're cheap and I'm fat.
You're fat.
Yes, yeah, well, I'm tall for my age.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I again, we talked about, all of this has been about humanity. Take care of everybody to your left and right. Take care of your community. That also includes, like, don't ever get on a soapbox and just generally tell people that they're terrible people or wrong for doing something in what is generally a terrible situation. And don't ever assume that they're not doing the right things in order to facilitate these situations. So we don't talk politics, and we got really close talking about this pandemic. So all I'm going to say is, look, the politics, the holidays are difficult for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. Right? There's no reason not to understand that there's concern with traveling and visiting, but don't ever sit there and make somebody's holidays worse because you're lecturing them because they're doing the right thing, but you just didn't know. Like, again, like, you're just passing judgment on someone you don't know what they've done, how they've done it. And the reality is that human interaction is one of the most basic functional parts of us, like, living through our lives. So again, enjoy the holidays. Don't make it harder on other people. I understand it's just everything's different and everything sucks, and I get that. I really do, because it's really sucked for me too. I love my family. I've missed it on some birthdays. I've missed it on holidays, but if I choose to go do something, know that I'm going to do it the right way, and that's all we ask of anybody. If you're gonna go have these, if you're gonna have any sort of traveling outside of your area and interaction with others, just do it the right way. But you can't ever deny somebody of that human interaction, especially at the family level. I'm not saying go to bars, man. I don't go to bars, but I'm not mad at people that do. Mm-hmm. But it's just, man, when it talks about the very basic level of family gathering, family love, and cohesion, like, please get off your soapboxes and quit lecturing people, especially those that are wildly more experienced in life than you are.
Well, and like I said, I'm in that similar boat. I feel like there's a lot of things that I absolutely need to do, and whether pandemic or not, and not to mention just from a monetary standpoint during this pandemic, I have to go to bars, but that's because I have to play shows. And I will get into that a little bit here in a minute.
But you're not in the mosh pit.
But I'm not in the mosh pit. I'm up on the stage. I can socially distance for the most part outside of my bandmates. But exactly. Just be smart.
Even then, if you really wanted to,
yeah,
you could.
If you wanted to, yeah, no. But we say be careful, of course. And take care of yourself, take care of people, and you know what? We've talked about faith on this thing. You know what? Pray for people this time of year, man.
It's tough.
Because there's a lot of folks out there that are going to go through something difficult. They've lost family members in the last several months. They've lost jobs. They've lost livelihoods. They've lost very important things that they need. So by all means, if you're concerned about somebody, reach out to them, give them a phone call, shoot them a text. But, it's a difficult time of year. And just that little interaction can make all the difference in the world. All you have to do is send them a message, say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. And that's all the difference. I mean, seriously, if somebody were to text me right now and tell me that, hey, Rob, I was just thinking about you. I hope you're well. You don't even have to say, hey, I'm praying for you.
I take the podcast.
You
go answer your phone, man.
Go answer your phone. It's like, by all means, reach out to me. I love that kind of crap.
The holidays bring out the best and the worst in people.
It does.
And this year, I really hope it brings out a hell of a lot more good than bad. And I hate to phrase it this way, but I think a lot of us are starting to understand what it's like to go through the holiday season with no one there and no one to go to. So it's
right.
You're starting to understand how tough it is, and it's just all I'm going to say is, look, the holiday season is awesome for so many reasons, and it is so hard for so many reasons for so many people. So the least you can do is just not be a dick. That's kind of what it comes down to. Like,
what we talked about a few weeks ago. Be excellent to one another. Party on.
Well, I mean, as long as your party's socially distanced, right?
Exactly. Yeah. 6 feet apart, kids. Come on.
I can air guitar from here into there. But it's just, again, I love the holidays, and if there were ever a year where we were about to really kind of go head first into a season where kindness and charity and hope and love and giving are at the foremost thought, good Lord, 2020 would be the year.
We need it.
So
we all need it.
So I'm gonna. I could probably go on for 40 minutes, but I'd say the same thing. All I'm gonna say is remember this is a holiday season, and no matter how tough you think it is for you, it's gonna be tougher for others. Just be there for each other. Be there for your friends. Think about. Again, we talked about it last week. I'll hammer this until it warms up. I don't care if we're a month or two past Christmas. Go through your closets, get blankets, get sweatshirts you don't wear anymore.
Jackets, baby.
If you can't give money, you can give a sweatshirt you hadn't worn in a year and a half. Get jackets. Get old beanie caps. Just anything you don't wear. Remember it's getting cold, and there are people that we talk about needing to go find a way to see our parents and grandparents. These people are talking about needing a way to stay warm and feed themselves. Right. So always remember there are people, no matter how bad you think you've got it, there are people that have it way worse. So just think of those around you this holiday season as we really kind of. Tomorrow's December 1st, and if you're listening to this, then it probably is December 1st.
Right.
So I wish you all the very happiest of holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, everything in the holiday season that brings you joy. Just remember that we all understand how bad we've had it, and just I think maybe it's been an eye opener in 2020 that maybe there are a lot of people that deal with this every year, and this is just the first year that we're having to deal with it.
Right. Yeah. No doubt about it. It's been a crazy year.
And I'm not being like PC bro. Yeah. Like check your privilege, bro.
No.
Like it's just we as Americans we generally take things for granted.
We absolutely
I understand that.
We've taken a lot for granted this year, no doubt.
And the more you understand that, the better you are. And I'm not.
Yeah.
That isn't any sort of specific message. It's just the fact that if you can help, if you can give, anything you can do. It's a holiday season, and if there were ever a time to highlight your humanity, it's always a holiday season, right? And if you don't have any sort of religious beliefs, like, bro, Santa's watching. So how about you be nice? Because otherwise he's not going to stuff his fat ass down the chimney this year.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you.
He's like extra fat ass. It's 2020. He's been sitting home and eating like we have.
Nothing.
God, nothing.
Nothing. So what's new? What's new on your front personally? What do you got going on right now?
Well, Good Bull is the students left for Thanksgiving, didn't come back, so we're into the struggle bus mode.
Dadgummit.
But we did put it on social media on Sunday night, and we'll be pumping it out. 2020 is not going to stop us from doing our holiday hams.
Hell yes, sir.
Spiral cut, oak smoke, barbecue glazed, maple drizzled. About 4 or 5 years ago, I realized that, I didn't want Honey Bake to take all the money.
Right.
So, and I tried to come up with my own recipe, and turns out it's really good.
That's good.
So, we'll be taking orders. Check our social media.
Yes, sir. Well, be sure to check out my band. So I'm playing with Carson Jeffrey this week. We got 2 shows. We're playing up in Lubbock Wednesday. So if you're one of our Lubbock listeners, all 3 of you, be sure to come up and watch us in Lubbock Wednesday night.
3 seems high.
Yeah, we're playing at Cook's Garage up there. Be sure to check it out. And then we're going to be in Durant, Oklahoma Thursday. There's a hot chance I might be playing the show in College Station Friday if the other guy can't make it, but we will see. But we will, if we'll play that by ear. But yeah, we'd love to see you guys come out for any of those shows. Other than that, I'm pretty much good to go at this point.
Dude, it's the beginning of the holiday season. I love it. I love it. Spread charity, spread goodwill. Don't be weirded out if I show up knocking at your door singing carols.
Right. Speaking of carols, let me know if you want to do something.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Take care. Gig 'em. Beat the
hell at Auburn.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.